What is up, YouTube? Welcome back. Today we are going to be doing yet another update video on my 2017 Honda Accord Coupe V6 here. It has been about 6 months since I did the last update, and I have quite a few things to talk about actually. Not all are good or desirable, but it's nothing too bad, so don't worry about that. But anyways, I am here to tell you everything that has happened to it in the past 6 months that I've owned it, and so here we go. First thing I'd like to mention was that we are coming up on my 3-year anniversary with this car. I bought this thing brand new in February 7th of 2018, and it is January 16th, I believe, today. So it is coming up fast. And yeah, it's been a great car. Been loving it, and it's been pretty dope. So the first thing I want to mention is my rolled front fenders, because that is something that I decided to do because when I got these wheels I didn't have the fronts rolled. I had done the rears already just as like a preventative thing even before I got the wheels, but in the front I decided not to, just because I didn't think it was 100% necessary, but over time, going on long road trips and stuff, I did notice that the car was rubbing, you know, under really harsh dips and stuff, and so I kind of ignored it at first, but it started to kind of chew up the tires a little bit, which you might be able to tell here. It's really minor, but I didn't want it getting any worse, and also I was taking the car on some long road trips, and especially on those I kind of really noticed it, and so anyways, decided to hit up my buddy around here and get the front fenders rolled on the inside. Can't really video it too well, but basically that just makes it so the none of the wheels are going to rub anymore over any sort of dips or anything, which is good. It'll prevent damage to both the tire and the fender and all that stuff. Just peace of mind kind of thing. So that was one thing that I did right after I got back from a road trip last year. I still got the same Continental Extreme Contact DWS-06 tires that I've had since I got these wheels. They're doing okay. Something you might notice is that my brake caliper paint is starting to chip off. This might not be everybody's style, but I like it. So anyways, I guess I didn't do that great of a job because it's starting to peel off on all 4 of them. So don't know what I'm gonna do about that, but oh well, that's just kind of the way it goes. But yeah, so that was the first thing I did, and the second thing I'd like to mention is my driver's side headlight here, because I don't know if you guys remember, but in a previous video I had mentioned back in like 2019, I think I had gotten the passenger side headlight replaced, and if you don't know, these cars have a notorious problem with the daytime running lights, in which they just burn out over time, and it's a design flaw with the headlight. The good news is Honda is covering it for 10 years unlimited mileage now, so I got that one swapped back in 2019 for free of charge, and then this one went out this year back in September, I believe. So got that swapped out, which is actually okay, because on the previous headlight I had noticed that we were getting a little bit of oxidation right here, so it was alright that it got it swapped out, and now you know, just have 2 new headlight housings. So you know, it is what it is. It's a common problem with this car, like I said. So that was the other thing that happened to it. Let's go ahead and take a quick walk around before I get to the under the hood stuff, because I do have some stuff to talk about with that. But first, I'd like to go ahead and just walk around the car for you guys. Still looking pretty much exactly the same on the outside. Haven't really done anything new with it. I'm kind of done at this point. The only thing I really would like to do in the future, though, is to do a chrome delete, but unfortunately I can't find anyone that would be willing to do it for a price that I'm willing to pay. I know it's a lot of work and all of that, but I'm not trying to pay, you know, $700-800 to get my chrome trim wrapped. It's just not worth that much to me, so it's staying chrome. I don't really have any other plans for the car. I've pretty much done everything I wanted to do to it at this point. Again, still got the red Honda badges, still got the rear diffuser down there and all of that good stuff, all the previous mods I mentioned. I'm not going to go over everything again in another video, or in this video, so, you know, it is what it is, but the car is looking pretty good, I think. Just washed it this morning for this video, actually, so tried to keep it nice and clean for you guys. But, yeah, she's looking pretty good. So there you go, guys. She's looking real nice. Yeah, I am getting quite a few rock chips up front. You know, I take this car on a lot of road trips, so it might be hard to actually video for you to see, but it's been pelted with rock chips in the front and also on the windshield. It's not something that really bothers me. I mean, a car is a car. A car is meant to be driven, so it doesn't really bother me too much. But anyways, from here, I'm going to go ahead and pop the hood, and we will talk about some stuff under there. Alright fellas, now that we're under the ranch, there's a few things I'd like to mention. The first of which being that when I got this headlight swapped at the Honda dealership, I just decided to get the coolant flush because it had never been done, and this car was manufactured back in August of 16, so I like to do it every 4 or 5 years just for peace of mind. So I got the coolant flushed with, you know, the genuine Honda Type 2 blue coolant that it should have in it, so that's another thing done out of the way. I did do the transmission fluid, I think like 7,000 or 8,000 miles ago, so we should be good there. So that was just you know, a maintenance item. The second thing I'd like to mention is we do have a new battery. I don't know if you guys remember in the last update video that the car wouldn't start, and that was just due to the fact that I was unemployed for a lot of 2020 and the car was just sitting around, you know, not getting driven. I believe it sat for like 2 months straight without being driven very much. So, got a new battery in there. This is a Duracell Ultra AGM battery. I got it from Batteries Plus, and you can see we have a fucking mint manufacturing date there. But anyways, the car starts great now. It actually cranks much better than it ever has before, so I'm pretty happy about that. Got a new battery in there. Shouldn't have to worry about that for quite a few years. The engine, of course, the glorious J35 is still running perfectly. Still got this red plastic engine cover, which is holding up all right, although it is getting kind of dirty, as you might be able to tell. But you know, the engine and transmission are both running great. Engine doesn't burn any oil whatsoever still, which is great, given that it's a Honda and they tend to do that. But yeah, everything else is pretty much the same under here. Still got the Team Flex Z coilovers over there, and there's only one thing I would like to mention that has been a problem, and that is to do with the ABS system. So this car actually uses the ABS wheel speed sensors to approximate tire pressure and such, and so that is kind of how I started to notice this issue. But long story short, the tire pressure light, the ABS light, and I believe the VSA light all came on one day, and they were intermittent, and so that is why I didn't really investigate it too much in the beginning, because the lights would come on when I drive somewhere, I'd turn off the car, get back in it later, and they'd go off, and then I wouldn't see them again for like a month or two. And so it took me a while to really investigate it. But the most recent time that it happened, I plugged in my scan tool, and I actually found out that the left rear wheel speed sensor had a DTC for it. And so at that point I was like, okay, well, there's only really 3 things that this could be. It could be the speed sensor, the wiring to it, or the VSA module itself. So I started with the cheapest option, and I just went ahead and replaced the speed sensor, which the wire you can see for is right under there. And so that kind of sort of fixed it. And what I mean by that is the lights haven't come back on since, but I continue to get a blinking tire light every time I start the car. And normally what that means is the tire light will blink once when you first start the car after about a minute or so to let you know that the tire pressure monitor system is calibrating. But the problem is that has been happening every time I've started the car for the past like over a month, because I believe I replaced the speed sensor back in like November, and it's January and it still doesn't. Now the dash lights haven't come back on, and the ABS and traction control and all that good stuff works as intended, so I don't think it's too unhappy, but it doesn't sit right with me that tire light is still flashing every time I start the car. But oh well, I'm just gonna send it for now. There's not really much else I can do, just because it seems to be kind of a strange issue. And to be honest, I really hate indirect tire pressure monitoring systems, because they can be inaccurate and annoying most of the time. So honestly, if I don't have TPMS now, I really don't care. But that was the last final little issue that I've had with the car over the past year. So oh well, it is what it is. So anyways, I'm going to go ahead and close this up because we are done under there, and then I'd like to talk about the final misfortune that has happened with this car. You can see 2020 wasn't very nice to my car or me. So anyways, I was coming home from work one day. This happened like, I think, like probably a month ago now, but I was coming home from work, I was in the right lane. I live in a pretty hilly area, and it was dark, so I had seen something in the road, but I didn't really have time to react fast enough, and it ended up being a pretty large-sized rock, and so I drove over it, and that kind of screwed up my undercarriage a little bit, and you know, I had some noises, kind of like a rattling noise happening after I had hit that, so I stopped the car, pulled it over, and just took a look underneath to make sure there was no fluid leaks or like really obvious damage. I didn't really see anything too bad, or I didn't really see anything at all, rather, because again, it was dark. So I was like, okay, I'll just drive the car home and I'll take a look at it when I get home. Now, when I did take a look at it, I noticed quite a few things. One, I noticed that the transmission case was scratched. This is a very minor thing. It didn't crack it or anything or cause any leaks, but I noticed like a inch-long scratch on the transmission case. And then looking further back, I noticed that it hit both of the chassis braces that go underneath the exhaust in the middle of the car. One of them it damaged really badly, and then the other one it just bent, which I was able to fix, and so that wasn't great. I also noticed that the heat shield around my resonator was pretty chewed up as well, and finally I noticed a pretty big like dent in my fuel tank. Thankfully this didn't cause any sort of leak, so I wasn't too upset about it, and I was able to fix the chassis brace and the heat shield with a rubber mallet and put them back on the car. But it is kind of unfortunate that happened. But thankfully, like I said, the car didn't sustain any long-lasting damage off of this, and so, life happens sometimes. That's just kind of how it is. So anyhow, that is pretty much it for the saga of misfortunes, I guess, for the car. And so yeah, it's been quite a year for both of us, but as you can see, she still looks pretty good, and yeah, she's running great. Speaking of that, let's go ahead and pop in the interior, and I'll go ahead and continue. Alright, so here we are in the interior. Again, looks exactly the same in here. Haven't done anything with it since the last video, and again, it's done. I don't really have any other plans for it, but I try to keep it clean in here. I did end up conditioning the seats a while back because they were getting pretty trashed with my new job, coming home a little bit dirty and dusty every day. It kind of took a toll on the leather seats, but I used some Miguire's quick interior detailer, and they look pretty good again. So yeah, nobody ever sits in the back seat in this car, so the rear seats are in great shape. Single life. Anyways, let me go ahead and sit down real quick, and we'll give her a start. Let's go and start her up. Alright, so as you can see, we are sitting at 58,434 miles. Not a ton. I did not drive very much this past year. It's been about 10,000 miles since the video I made a year ago on this car, which is about half of my normal amount of driving. So, that happens, like I said, when you're unemployed for a few months and such, but I'm back to work and stuff now, so hopefully the miles will pile on a little bit quicker. Of course, I still have the Borla exhaust with the two-step. So I think that still sounds pretty good. But yeah, still got the carbon fiber wrap center console. Everything else in here is pretty much the same. And yeah, that's about all I got to say. I am due for an oil change, so I'm probably going to end up doing that next weekend, but So anyways, guys, that's about all I can say. It is what it is. I'm going to have to go ahead and end this video now because I'm running out of things to talk about, but on that note, I hope you guys enjoyed this update video, and I will look forward to bringing you the next one. So, without further ado, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.